$1,000 one.
Man, I just wanted the black and red one.
They're, if I had the money, I would probably start getting into that. We're like up in the mountains where I'm at. You're not going to go ride a normal bike.
Yeah, no, the e-bike stuff seems pretty cool.
It is super cool.
And everybody has one.
Well, a lot of people do now.
Yeah, every brand out there's got one.
Yeah, but Specialized is supposed to be the best. I forget what it's called. It's
You'll
know it because it's $13,000.
Yeah, I'm pretty brand loyal to Specialized.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in town? Chris Costa. Pronounce your name.
Costa.
I call him Costa. It's Chris Costa. Why Costa? What's Ludus?
Ludus is Latin for trainer.
Okay, I didn't know. I never knew that. I didn't know that.
Ludi was the school. The backstory is when Andrew Wiedemann and I sat down to talk about our logo many years ago. He goes, "You always got to have like a little bit of a backstory." So anyhow, being maritime, whole family's maritime. You have the Trident, right? And in my CoStar career, we always had Trident and Seahorses for pins or something that we would earn in our organization. And then you look at the maritime side of the house, and again, it's usually Tridents and all this other stuff. Well, we're also known for training. And then on the Gladiator side of the house, you had the school was Ludi is the school. Ludus was the training. So what would happen is these people from different regions all over the place would go, and they would be different types of gladiators. So you had like net fighters, and you had the Rotarius, and the Rotarius used to try to net and shield to fight. So then we took the kind of maritime background, mixed it with the training background, and said, all right, well, Ludus is Latin for training, so we'll go with our logo, which will be the trident, net, and shield. So
cool.
Kind of a backstory, because we didn't want people to sit there and be like, oh, they're training gladiators. No, we're not training gladiators, but we are training fighters. So people are fighters. So nevertheless, it's that's kind of where we came up with it.
Well, I have friends sitting around. I'm like, what's Ludus? And they're like, I don't know what Ludus is. So there we go.
What you're like, is it Costa Combat? Is it Costa Tactical? Is it Costa? You're just like, all right, what do we do that's a little subtle that kind of works out? So,
yeah.
Andrew Wiedemann did an awesome job.
That's the artist, right?
That. Yeah, he does
knives.
Yep, does knives and then does artist stuff.
Pinup girl stuff.
The pinup girl.
Yeah,
which is,
Bomber knows art.
Yeah, which is super cool.
Yeah, he's been cool.
So what have you guys been working on here? I like that new padded rifle bag that you showed me earlier.
Padded rifle bag, a lot of tool stuff, just transitioning. When I bought the Toyota, that was kind of the thing. I really, I always fuck with Travis, and I'm like, oh, Travis bought a Toyota because I bought a Toyota. But I really buy everything, like I have it a couple. It's never because I'm watching Travis and I buy something because Travis has it. We just all have kind of the same taste. You got a Tacoma, and Travis has a so I'm like, I'm going to buy a Toyota Tacoma this weekend so that Travis can have a truck like mine.
Nice.
So
the first time I saw guys running like a lot of Toyota trucks was like the Fieldcraft guys.
Yeah.
They were always running. I think he might have a truck, but I know he has a 4Runner. And I remember those guys because I was running my big Dodges at the time. But like I said, out in a parking lot, man, with what I haul across the country, 30,000 miles a year, I need to go back to a diesel truck because those little Tacomas they're not built for that. I think Expedition's going to start going back into V8 trucks because when you start putting all this stuff on top of them, all that's weight, and you're talking fridges and everything else. And you're right, like John was showing me the tool case, the rolls that he has. And the funny thing is, it's like I'm sitting there going, well, what do I put my tools in? And I have your old zipper bags with the Velcro on it. So I'm like, all my wrenches are in there, my Allens are in here. So it's kind of funny how, you now have a purpose-built wrench roll.
It's
right?
just a transition in the market. And every, like there's other dudes doing it, we're doing it, there's a bunch of guys. We got the Toyota so we could kind of break in and do the overland stuff. But that wrench roll, the fucking Army was doing the wrench roll 50, 60 years ago. Our tool bag really started, it was a canvas tool bag like Grandpa had. We just took it and modernized it. I mean, the idea is still the same. We just made it out of current stuff and gave you some more modularity to it.
Yeah, and for me, I've been running your little tool bags, and I like getting to different colors because I'll throw my 1911s in one, I'll throw my Glocks in another, and I have them separated so when I go in to grab something, or if I got to have, like sometimes a student will help me out, and I'll just be like, hey, grab my white multicam one, and then they'll bring it to me, and I have all my stuff in it, and I'll put my holsters for that gun in it as well. So for me, not only will I have the gun in there, but I'll have the mag pouches and the holsters, and it's all there. It's in that little bag.
Right.
So just kind of like grab and go.
So is the gun, do you keep the individual gun in the tool bags with all this stuff?
Sometimes I do a few things because you put those side zippers in there.
Yep.
Sometimes I'll take if I've got more than one Glock, which I usually do, I'll throw them in the sides, and then I'll take my main Glock and I'll throw it in a holster in the middle, in like a tier 1 concealed holster, and then I'll just throw my other mag pouches and my mags in there, and then you have that inside Velcro. So I take my mags and I'll throw my mags in there. So I have my mags, my guns, my holsters, everything that I need right there. So I love the little tool bags. Those things are, they're so simple, they're stupid, right?
Yeah.
But for segregating my stuff, it makes it a lot easier by having, I got a bunch of guns kind of everywhere and a bunch of magazines kind of everywhere. It allows me to just go bag for this type of gun.
Mm-hmm. And in the back of the truck, like we have tow chains and we have our ratchet straps. So we'll have the tool bags or even the large tool bags with chain and clevises and all that shit in there because the bags will take it.
Sure.
And it keeps that stuff from just tearing everything else up in the back of your truck.
Well, like you said, in this, there's bleed over, right? Like, how many of us don't have more than one backpack? You know what I mean? Like, most of us have backpacks, bags of backpacks. And, you know, we get on our wives for buying shoes and bags herself, and yet, you know, you probably in a garage have tubs of just Cadora.
There's 78 backpacks over there. No shit.
Well, it makes sense that you have them.
They're not mine. Even, like, I didn't build them. I bought them.
Regular, even regular guys, I guarantee probably have 5 different. You know, it might be a like a North Face bag or whatever. You know, London Bridge. It doesn't matter. Or it's Osprey. Like I like Osprey packs because they're just kind of a normal looking bag. So, but
you use Camelback stuff at all?
I don't really. I mean, I did in my younger days, but I guess I don't really ride much or do much with a Camelback.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't find myself utilizing them like I used to.
I was always drawn to Camelback because the textures and the differences in materials, like we were talking about earlier. But they were one of the only companies doing like black and red, and then they had cool names like Mayhem and Havoc.
They did.
Killer, and so it was cool. And I still go into a store that has Camelback, and I'm looking at them like, these are pretty cool. I like the way they've done the Hypalon and stuff on here and the thermal molded foam and stuff. But I don't mountain bike a lot. And I mean, I've already got several Camelbacks, so.
Yeah, for me, I like the pads. They were one of the first companies to really do those kind of pocket pads. So when you're sweating, you do have a little bit more
it's like tension mesh. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. But I think it's easier to clean out a water bottle than it is a Camelback. And for some reason now it's like I got the tube, and I'm just like, I'm lazy. So
well, plus we have $50 bike bottles now. I mean, it's gone full circle. Everything goes full circle. It was the bladder and then the chamber in the bladder, and now you're back to a bottle, but it's stainless steel and it's even heavier, and we can paint it.
We do come full circle.
It destroys the inside of your truck.
It's like 1 minute we were taking our jeans. I remember when I was a kid, I was taking my jeans and I'd roll them over in Florida, and we would tight roll these things up, right? And the funny thing is, like, it would just be really rolled super, super tight. And now it's like I don't wear that. But then you look at all the jeans now, and they're all tight cuffed.
Yeah, you go to try, and you're like, I can't even wear this.
I was like, how do I get my foot out of it?
Yeah.
And wait, you got to wear your pant above your shoe. You know what I mean? Like above your, like the tongue sticks out.
Yeah. That
bothers
bothers me. I always have to reach down and get it out of there for sure.
But it's a whole fad. Like, you can't fight it. It's hard pressed to try to find like a boot cut jean nowadays where it goes over your foot, especially when you're constantly, like for me, I'm getting up and down, and it's like weird to think like I want to taper so tight to where it's wrapped around my ankle and my whole shoe shows.
Like, what did you ever get any Katanica shorts? Did they ever?
I had gotten a pair of them before. I look at them as pockets that are also shorts.
Yeah.
Like, you'll lose a gun in a pair of those shorts.
Okay, yeah.
They have so many pockets in their pants.
Yeah.
If you had a Kel-Tec 32, you would be washing it.
Right.
With the you just lose it.
I got you. Man, they've been super good to us.
Yeah, no, they're a good bunch of guys.
They really communicate with us on that was the thing. Like, that's how we ended up doing anything with Katanica and LoomTech also, because they just talked to us through social media. Like, they got on there, and it was a company that I perceived to be a bigger company than myself, especially when we weren't, when we were a little smaller than we are. And they just interacted. I'm like, man, that's really cool. So that's part of why, like, when I was saying to you, acknowledge, when people share on your social media and they comment, I try to go through every night and just at least heart those people and go, hey, I saw this, right on, because it meant so much to me when they did. And now, we kind of promote their stuff. They send us shorts here and there. I buy a ton of their shorts. I've bought over 100 pairs of their shorts. All my guys out there wear them. But the thing I like about them is these right here, these pin. I got a pin, and I found a flashlight that'll fit in there.
Yeah, if they built a pocket a little bit bigger, then it would hold a Surefire easy.
Yeah.
On me, like you at least are taller, on me they look like capris, so I got to be careful.
Well, they make a silly.
Oh, do they?
They call them mountain shorts. I think I would never wear them.
I mean, mountain climbers do wear them, but usually they're not that low. Usually they'll come up to about right here.
We just did an ATAX Ghost Strider SOE collaboration short, and it's got an extra pocket and shit on there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is Mick and Dwayne still own that company?
So Mick, they kind of dissolved Strider knives, and then it's Mick Strider Customs and it's Dwayne Dwyer Customs.
Interesting.
But they're still in the same area.
John has some like knives that are just amazing. They're the old Nightmare grinds.
Yeah.
And those were always my favorite. Like to this day, I'm like, if I had the money, I would be trying to buy them, at least one off you, because I always loved that deep cut Nightmare grind and a folder knife. It's just something about it. And I remember they were like one of the first companies to really, like, I guess that I noticed, there's always that guy who did it first, but I remember seeing it with those knives, and they only made like limited amounts, so yeah, super cool.
When I saw it, I'm like, that's a terrible knife. But then when you held that thing, you're like, this is for one thing and one thing only. But when I got the first ones, it was like, what's up? When I got the first ones, it was, I bought Marissa, like Mick didn't even have any knives there. Marissa had made 2, and I'm like, I'm buying both of those before the show even opened. I think I said, hey, do not sell that thing. So I got those ones, and then Mick did some, and then I've got some of the older stuff. And it was originally the Seal, they called it the Seal 2000, but it was a zombie hunter movie. They did a PlayStation, was it a PlayStation game? It was a PlayStation game that came out in Japan, and it was called the Tiger 2000. It was this crazy knife for just cutting
like a
zombies up.
Kukuri or a Kukuri?
No, it's even crazier than that.
Okay.
It's even wilder than that. And they had a trainer. They had the real one that we made a big sheath for, and we had a presentation case that Velcroed open. And then they had an aluminum one, so dudes wouldn't totally destroy themselves messing around with this.
I remember back when seeing their knives. It was before. What was it? Guns and Ammo Surefire.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And I remember because that was the first time I saw SOE gear with the big drain holes, the Force 10 vest, because that's what I wore down in South America. And I remember seeing the Striders, and I went out and bought whatever that, it was like an 8-inch Tanto fixed blade with the paracord. And then after I had that, I bought one of the small ones, one of the small fixed blades for carrying. And then I was down there, and I had ordered a folder. And I guess they were just, because their popularity was going through the roof. I was getting ready to go out and head down to South America to Iquitos, Peru. And I was coming in because I was excited, like my knive's done. And it was like, actually, it's not done. And the guy's like, Dwayne, it was Dwayne, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Dwayne goes, hey, I don't have your knife. It's not done, but I've got one with a serial number on it. It's 93 of an old GB. And he goes, if you want it, you can have it for the same thing. And I was like, yep. So, and I remember what I loved about it was when you saw, granted it's a photo, but how much stuff gets sold on a photo.
Yeah.
It was like the guys were coming in, and there was like, that typical like drug cage on a window, and it's like they're just wrenching onto Strider. I'm like, I need that knife.
That would have been Gerald Bulkey.
Yeah, it probably was.
That's
probably
Gerald
true.
Bulkey, yeah.
That's probably true.
He was the first dude, because he was doing breach and shit with Ontario SWAT, and they were doing some drug cases and stuff, but he was prying fucking locks.
I was like, I don't know when I'm going to need to pry a metal cage and bolts off a wall, but I need a knife that's capable of doing it.
Well, as a kid, I remember like the Fairbairn Sykes or whatever, they're like, you can jam this through the fuselage of an airplane if you need to escape out of the belly of an airplane. I remember reading that as a kid, and like,
you're going to buy it.
That was my go-to, like, until I was probably 20. Can I cut my way out of a fucking...
Until you have been trapped in the belly of an airplane and you can't get out, then you realize, I need that knife.
Yeah, Schomertech and Parallax and all those catalogs, man, that was the deal. That's how they sold me shit. Can I get out of an airplane? Can I cut my way out? Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. We used to take the Striders, we took them out to the range out at Range 130 at Camp Pendleton, and they were hammering those things. They were hammering them into a car hood and then just fucking
just beating
cutting
and
the car
cutting.
hood, cutting windows out of them, cutting bumpers. I mean, you name it.
Yeah, it's super awesome. Hard use tools.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I remember reading the first time I'd ever heard of Strider before I ever saw one. There was a magazine article floating around, and it wasn't even. It was about the knives the SEALs had used, and they were talking about how Dwayne had taken some of these knives and they left them in Cardiff Reef for 18 months, and then they went back and they were able to find 3 of them, and they just blasted the barnacles off, and there was hardly any rust, and just everything.
Wasn't obviously, you know, we grew up as a kid. You know, you had the SOG, and then you had the Navy SEAL one.
The
right?
SOG 2000.
Yeah,
but
you had
prior
all
to that
those.
even.
But then I thought, wasn't there a company? Because when I was out of Virginia Beach, Virginia, I thought there was a company making knives, Mad Dog.
Yeah, there was
like
Mad
Dog
Dog.
knives made some of the first ones for the guys, and those knives were really cool. I remember being down in South America, and I had a Kydex Beretta Mad Dog holster.
Yeah.
That's what I put my Beretta in when I was carrying concealed.
I want to say that Jeremy Horton was. I want to say it was Mad Dog knives. Jeremy Horton was taking and regrinding them and profiling them, and finally the dude's like, "Hey, man, you are way better than this. Like, you can do all this shit. Why don't you stop cutting my knives up and just make your own knives?" I'm pretty sure that was actually the Mad Dog dude with Jeremy Horton.
Is he still around?
Jeremy, yeah.
No, the Mad Dog guy.
I have no idea.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, I have no clue.
That's so long ago. People don't. Yeah, man.
I have a couple of those knives people have given me over. I never wanted one because of the plastic G10 handle that was on there, you know. Mission Knives does the same thing. We did a lot of stuff with Mission early on. It was all the low mu stuff when the SEALs like, low mu this and low mu that. I'm like, your fucking gun's metal. Your bullets are metal. You know. So
it's always funny when it's like all these products that the SEALs use, and then you go do training with them, and they have none of those products.
Right.
You're just like, hey, so where's your SOG knife? They're like, what?
We were talking
It's
about.
like,
I was on live.
Hey,
feed.
where's your
Luminox.
Yeah,
I
Luminox Navy
literally
SEAL.
thought-
Like
yeah.
you're looking around and nobody's got one on. They got all these other watches. You're like, why did I buy this thing?
I was
thought
literally
you guys were
talking
wearing
about
this.
that. I was on live feed the other night, and somebody asked something. I go, I don't like it. It looks like a Luminox. Remember the Luminox SEAL
Yeah.
watch? The SEAL watch? I go, they were flooding those in the pool in second phase of Buds. Like, yeah, they might have given them to 2 platoons, but those early on watches, they flooded. Like they weren't good watches in the early. Yeah, we had these in cuts. We were making a ton of slings, and it wasn't tubular nylon. It was just flat nylon. So we had these in cuts that were like 14 inches, and we just had boxes of them, and we were just sitting around bullshitting like we are right now. And I heated 2 ends up and stuck them together and just had this ring. And I just did it with a bunch. I didn't even realize I was doing it. And I just molded and just mashed these 2 hot molten nylon ends together, so we had these rings. Well, somebody took them to the gun show, and we had them sitting there on the table. Dude comes up, and it's always the dude telling his chick, you know, he comes up and he's got all these fucking secret hero mission stories that he's told her, and he comes up and he's bowed up and he grabs that airsoft gun and picks it up and he's like, man, that's really light. And we're like, yeah, it's all plastic. And my boy James Rexroth's like, yeah, that's the caseless rifle. It doesn't actually take any ammo. It just dissolves all the bullets and everything. It's super light. You probably haven't seen one of these yet. You'll be getting them. And just like turns around. So the dude's looking at these fucking rings. He's like, what are they? I go, that's the SEAL non-magnetic ring, the SNMR. He goes, what's it for? I go, the SEALs, you know, they go everywhere with dolphins. The dolphins tow them, so they put this in their mouth, and the fucking dolphin just tows them to wherever they're going. He goes, I go, because it's low mu. There's no magnetic signature. That's why we make these out of this. He's like, how much are they? I go, they're $10. I don't, but like, there was always every gun show, especially there in San Diego, because it was always like that, man.
This is not like going to a gun show in Florida where it's like chainsaws and Nazi paraphernalia and all German shit. You're just like, I remember going to those gun shows. You're like, what is going on here?
We would go to the Pomona Gun Show, which it still has to have been the biggest gun show in the world at the time. It was the Pomona Fairgrounds, where they have all the races and the Chevy Winter Nationals and all that shit. But like the National Guard would come in and bring a missile system with them, and they'd have tanks, and dude, it was huge. You could go to the Pomona Gun Show and you wouldn't see all of it in 3 days. And we'd go as a vendor, and we'd set up outside, and we'd have a fucking Zodiac and skydive rigs and mannequins and camo, and it was just like a dog and pony show. Wow. And we would just have some stuff for sale, but everything we took to sell, we were just spending that money. Like, we were just there to shop ourselves. So one dude would be in the booth and 3 dudes would be out of the booth. And Jeff's like, I found a howitzer, or whatever. Fuck, there was all kinds of crazy shit there at the Pomona Gun Show. And then they just stopped doing it. They banned the gun show there. But man, it was so big back in the day.
18 miles of tables. What they had.
What? How is
18
that even?
miles of tables.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe that that's even possible.
Dude, it was so much fun. Like we would just work and build shit just to go to the gun show in Pomona twice. And then every 4 months, every 3 months, we'd have one at Del Mar. But the Pomona Gun Show was huge. It was a whole evolution. It was crazy. Did you ever go to the Soldier Fortune show? Did you ever see that when it was going?
No, I did not.
That was fun. That was a fun show. It was pretty cool. So what's next?
Training up in Virginia. So we've got carbine up in Virginia, carbine 1, handgun 1, and then I head back home. So I'll get home mid-November. Yeah. So
Solomon shoe guy?
these I like, and the Sail Was.
Yeah.
Yeah, those I really like as well. These, it's hard. I can't find OD. They
only made them for a little while.
Yeah, and then I was in Utah, and they had at one of these places, me and Jared from Tier 1 Concealed went there, and they had them, and I bought both size 10s, and I'm already wishing they had, you know, more in OD.
I might have a pair of those. I might have a new pair of those. I
Yeah.
bought some OD once.
I remember last time you and I were talking about them, because you do this, the Speed Labs. They make a pair that they sell overseas. I don't know if they still do. They're basically this shoe with like a midi,
Yeah.
where it comes up, but they make it like this. It's not. It doesn't look like what Tactical Distributors has, where it's that weird kind of. I forget what they call that brown one and that black one
Yeah, I
that
know
they
what you're talking
have.
about.
This is it's a little bit different. It's really kind of cool. It's almost like so in wintertime in Wyoming, I was wearing the I think they were Snow Cross, the little spikes on the bottom, and then they're super cool, and they don't make them over here. It like sucks.
So when are you doing a class here again?
I got to talk to James. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, I was 4 months away from another instructor, just because of the way the market is. It's just a better way to go for everybody, and I just got to talk to him about it. But I'd like to do another one here. Maybe vehicle. Vehicle was good last time that we did.
Who would you go train with?
I really want to go train because I like personalities. I want to go train with Pat Mack.
I think you have a blast, man.
I like Pat's personality. It's just every time I do my schedule, I do it at, we usually release it in August, and then everybody else releases theirs, and I'm screwed at that point because it's usually there's date conflicts or whatnot, or I can't get there to that location. But yeah, I mean, I think James said it best one time, is that, you know, we all kind of teach the same thing. We're all doing carving this or speed reload this or malfunction this, and they're all very similar, right? Even drills are somewhat similar, but it's our mojo, it's our personalities, right, that people come back to, gravitate to, and whatnot. And for me, that's what I want to go see. I want to go see Pat's personality, right? And the byproduct of that is me getting to run a gun and not have to teach, is what I look at. So it's like, hey, I don't got to be responsible for anybody else here. Like, I don't care what everybody else is doing. I get to shoot. I get somebody else to challenge me, and at the same time, not only does somebody challenge me, but I get to see personality, which I already like seeing on.
Yeah.
So like, how's that not going to be a great mix where you get to shoot and see personality? So for me, that's important, and yeah, so that's what I'm hoping to.
Yeah. Have you still running Polaris products?
I sold my snowmobiles. I still have my Razor. They're okay. I'm a little disappointed because I think I bought a 17.
Yeah.
And there's an overheating issue that they didn't really address, but they addressed it in the 18, but they didn't go back because, of course, it would cost a lot of money. Yeah, I have a turbo. So running up some of the mountain trails at heat, I mean, you're at like 230 going into limp mode. It just can't take it. So what I'm upset about Polaris for is the fact that they know there was an issue. They didn't make it a recall because they didn't want to spend the money. But yet in the 18, they switch over the entire system, the coolant system, so it cools in a different manner. So I'm kind of a little disappointed about that because I've always been a Polaris fan. I've had numerous Rangers, numerous either side by sides or 4-seaters or whatnot. So You know, now I feel like I'm stuck with something, and I even put the fan system on, and that additional fan system is borderline on that 2017 where I'm at in the mountains.
You might have to check like a CBR radiator or something.
But I shouldn't have to.
You shouldn't.
And I'm at a point now. I'm at a point now when I sit there and I look at like what I had in my Razor when I put the roof on, these doors on, lift this, tires this, whatever. I'm like, I should have bought a Rubicon. You know, like I literally, I'm like I literally could have bought a pretty damn good Rubicon, and just even if I just said, hey, I'm gonna kind of trash it, like not trash it, but just take the top off, remove the doors, and just run it. Like I'd probably be much better off.
Yeah.
You know, doing that, and for the money, it's insane.
By the time we crash a Razor and we put new suspension on it and new radiator in the front, they all have new radiators because we busted them all in half. By the time we do that, I've got as much money in that 2-door Razor out there as I do that Toyota out there.
Yeah.
It's pretty close.
Yeah, it's the ratio is going to start hitting where it's going to make more sense for people to just go, I'm not going to go buy that. And yeah, you're not going to run a Jeep up every trail, but you know what? I don't have to go. When you look at how big these Razors are now, you're not talking about the little side-by-sides. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you want to go bully dog up some tight trail, it's not generally going to be in a 4-seat Razor.
Yeah.
Turbo, you know what I mean, all kitted up. You're going to run down the same gravel road I'm going to go run down in a Rubicon or in something else, and we're going to have spent the same amount of money, except I don't need a trailer mine. I'll be able to get right back on the highway and take off.
Yeah, it used to be, I think the entrances to all the park trails were 60 inches or something. So they had those little ones, and then they got the wide body kits, which wouldn't go on those trails. And then every time you break a suspension kit, you're like, well, I want the bigger suspension.
Yeah.
Shit, I got some cars that won't even fit in some of the trailers.
Yeah. That's true. They do get wider.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I like them. Don't get me wrong, but it's just at a point where I would have just been better off buying a friggin' Jeep, or even if you bought a used one from somebody who's bored with it.
Yeah.
You know, you could probably find a nice lifted setup for where they've got 40,000 miles on it, and it's perfect.
The market on the pre-owned Razors has tanked. I mean, just
no, you can't sell them.
Yeah, they're you can buy, if you want to buy a Razor right now, man, you can buy one cheap.
Yep.
That's done, and like it's worked out, you know.
Yeah, it's hard to sell them. You don't get your money. Not that you're getting your money back, but you don't even get close. You're taking a huge loss. So
yeah, you're selling it and getting a down payment to go buy a new one, with a payment or something. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Cool, man.
All right.
Thanks for coming in, dude.
Thank you.
I saw a picture of you.